girly pops, welcome back to my channel. I am the girl with no career. My name is Kimberly. I am a mom of 3 and a wife. I am a stay-at-home mom full-time, except all of my kids are in school. So yeah, I post a little bit about fashion, a little bit about frugal living, and just everyday life. I want to be your online bestie. I know that sounds cliche and cringe, but I truly do. Being a stay-at-home mom who lives in a super small town with little to no community, my online community is my community, and I love that. And I want to connect with you, and I want to interact with you, and I want to meet you, and I want to have meaningful conversations with you. And I just want to be a resource for all things relatable and anything that needs to be talked about but isn't talked about enough, as far as being a wife and being a mom and being a Christian and this world that we're living in. So, but I also like to keep it lighthearted. So with all that said, I'm just going to jump into today's topic, which is a no spend month. So if you have seen my past few videos, my past few vlogs, you know that we were doing a no spend month for January. And I didn't think it was going to be as successful as it was, but it truly was so successful. I opened up our banking app finally. I had been meaning to like go through and look. So our banking app categorizes our spending into different, what do you call it, like groups, different sections, different labels, different categories. That's the word I'm looking for, categories. It divides it into different categories, so that way we know like where most of our money is going, things like that. But then it also divides it up into merchants, so like where we're spending our money at the most. And when I tell you, one month I opened up our banking app and I clicked on merchants, Dollar General is the only store that we have in our little bitty town. We had spent $1,000 at Dollar General in 1 month. Like, what were we doing? I don't. And that was like my biggest wake up call at that moment, where I was like, okay, we are absolutely doing too much. We're doing the most, and we need to lock in. So as I was going over January's statement just this morning, actually, I was kind of categorizing everything, and I was really afraid to open it up because I didn't really see a big change. And I just thought, well, we're not eating out, but we are spending way more on groceries. So it's not really, I don't know where we're saving, or, but let me tell you, I opened it up and I was comparing it to the month before. I'm so embarrassed to say this, but we spent $4,000 less in January than we did in December. And granted, yes, it was the holidays. We were buying gifts. We are last minute gift people, so we bought all of our gifts in the month of December. But we didn't buy like extremely extravagant gifts. If you go back to our Christmas vlog, you can see like exactly what we bought our children. And it was nothing over, it was like nothing over $50, and they each get 4 gifts. My husband and I don't really do gifts for each other because throughout the year we're just like, if you want it, buy it, which is definitely going to change this year, especially after seeing how well we did with this no spend month. Now that you know how much we saved, which I don't even know where $4,000 would come from. We live on we are a one income family. My husband works, and I occasionally get paid from things, but I am such a small creator and just kind of like starting out. I just recently, not even a year ago, started like deep diving back into content creation. And so I'm not like getting brand deals or anything like that. I'm not getting paid from social media. Although I am doing it full time, I'm not getting paid from it full time. I'm not even getting paid for it part time. And so for $4,000 to be like, yeah, you spent this month and this is your monthly average for like 6 months. I don't know where that comes. We both are looking at each other like, where did we, like, there must have been a tree that was giving us money, because we don't know where it comes from and where it came from, but we do know how we spent it. We know that we have been eating out way too much. I have been going into the city way too much when I didn't need to go into the city. We were spending a lot of our free time like at the mall, at Target, at Hobby Lobby, just at different stores because we don't really have anything to do out here in the middle of nowhere. So we would go into the city and then we would just kill time at places. And even though we didn't have money to spend, we somehow would still end up spending money and let it be, you know, on a coffee, on a $7 coffee that I did not need. Let it be on, you know, 30 bucks at Target and then 30 more bucks at the mall and this and that and all these things that you don't intentionally go in there thinking you're going to spend money, and then you do because you're like, what's, you know, it's just $15. Sure, you can get that, sweetie. Or, hun, I'm just going to get this right now because this is the cheapest like, no, you don't need it. Don't spend it. You don't have it. Don't spend it. And I don't know why it's taken us this long. I was looking back at some content that I made in 2020. Tell me why. I was like, we're doing a no spend month this January because we're trying to get our finances back together. Girl, you've been saying this for 6 years? Probably 6+ years. So my husband and I were watching that back yesterday, and we both looked at each other like, what? And then us going over our finances together this morning and realizing that it just took us to be disciplined and buckle down and deny our flesh, deny these worldly things. Like, why did it take us so long? Do you know what we could have done with $4,000? We could have, like, that could have been a mortgage payment. That could have been us saving that up to get a new vehicle. My car is like, I'm not gonna speak badly about her, but like the radio is out. Earlier this year, we had a problem with, you know, our check engine light was on and something with the oil was going on, and we would not have had to do Uber Eats. We wouldn't have had to do Uber Eats. I wouldn't constantly be having to pick up side gigs. Although I do love making headbands. I do love that. And we just don't have a fabric store anymore, so that's why I kind of like pulled back on that. But I'm completely blown away. And if you're still here, if you're still watching, I'm about to explain to you how exactly we did this. And I don't even think that we realized how much we were doing until we sat back and looked like, well, yeah, we did do that, and we did it, and we actually did it. So I'm gonna tell you how we did it. These are the 5 things that I truly believe contributed to us saving so much money and being successful in this no spend month, which again, I was blown away by because I didn't even think that we were making any kind of difference. So number 1 was no more eating out. And this seems like a no-brainer, and you're probably like, okay, but when I tell you guys that we were eating out 3 to 4 times a week, I mean that. So we cut it down to only eating out when we would go to church, because we go to church in the city and our church is over right at dinner time. So we go on Saturdays at 5, it ends at 6, and of course it's dinner time and everyone's hungry. So we made an exception and we were like, okay, we're not eating out every single day of the weekend plus days during the week. We are just eating out this one time. And I truly believe that that made such a difference because we are a family of 5 and our kids are starting to eat off the regular menu and not the kids menu anymore. And they love to get Gessel everywhere we go, appetizer, anywhere we go. And we love it too. So we never say no. We were spending on average $75 per meal or per time that we were going out. Even if we were just going through a drive-through like McDonald's or something like that, we were still spending about $60. So multiply that times 3 and then multiply that times 4. I can't even do the math right now, but I remember telling my husband a few times last year, like, hey, we have really got to stop this because just this weekend, it would be like Sunday, and I'm like, how are we going to make it through the rest of the week? Because we just literally dropped $300 this weekend eating out. That's insane. And so I think we weren't really wrapping our heads around that, because we'd be like, oh, that's not bad. Like, we didn't even spend $100 eating out. It was, 65, 80, whatever. And then plus the tip on top of that, because we usually go to sit down restaurants. I think that we were just like, oh, no big deal. But when you add it up, Monday comes around, reality hits, and you're like, we actually did spend this amount, $300, $400, even $200. That's a lot of money to be spending eating out. So that was I feel like that was probably our biggest thing. And we are going to try to continue that throughout the year, just so that we can continue, saving our money and not spending it on frivolous things, on, a 20-minute dinner, 30-minute dinner, on places that we don't even really enjoy. So we will continue to stick to only eating out after church, whether we go on Saturdays or Sundays, and we will be able to budget for special occasions. I would also like to add to that, because I don't just want to tell you like what we stopped doing, I want to tell you what we also did. So we would go to the grocery store with a plan. We would go to the grocery store and say, okay, we're going to get breakfast things because I want to be able to make breakfast for, you. I would tell my husband, I want to make breakfast for you. I want to make breakfast for me. I want to have breakfast on the weekends here at the house. So that way we don't have any excuses. So make a meal plan, like sit down and write, what all days do we plan on being home? What meals will we need to cook? What things will the kids need? Snacks, things to quickly make for them on the weekends if, everyone's doing their own thing for lunch or whatever that may be. So you may end up adding a little bit more to your grocery bill, but in the long run, whenever you look back, you're going to see that you actually did save more than you added to your grocery bill. Does that make sense? Okay, the second one is, if it isn't clear by now, I absolutely love to go thrifting. I love finding a good deal at the thrift store, but it got to the point where I was watching other people here on YouTube thrift, and it's so fun. It's so satisfying to see someone finally get something that they wanted, like, off their thrift list and stuff. But I realized that was just making me want to go to the thrift store more and see if I could find the things that they were finding. If I could get like another score. It was seriously like a dopamine hit for me, and it began to be like, oh, I want to go. I would be up, late at night watching these and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to wake up early in the morning. As soon as I drop the kids off at school, I'm going to head to town, and I'm probably going to tell my husband that I'm going to get groceries, but then I'm going to like stop into the thrift store. And sometimes he would text me, because we had like Life 360. We need to get that back on our phones. But I got a new phone, and we all got new phones. And, we just didn't put it back on our phones. But he would see, and he'd be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just, about to head home. And then I'd be like, no, I'm like at the thrift store. And he's like, I know. And so it became like a hobby. And it's never really a good idea to have a hobby that makes you spend money, or that you have to spend money, or that revolves around spending money, even if it is something like a thrift store where you're saving. If you're spending, you're not saving. So even if it was, sometimes I would spend like $5, sometimes I would spend 20 or 30, because I would have a good day finding things. And for the month of January, I decided I'm not going to do that. Even if I would watch the girls thrifting on YouTube, I still would say that's cool. But then I started just kind of thinking from like a consumerism point, and like overconsumption. And when you really start looking at the world like that, which I kind of always have viewed it like that, but I also just like shopping and being in stores and stuff, and just like, it's such a quick like boost of serotonin. And especially if you're like ADHD, or you're a stay-at-home mom who doesn't really get out of the house or anything like that. I don't shop online, So doing that and like getting out of the house and being able to be like, "Ooh, I got something new and shiny," even if it was something from the thrift store or something that was deeply discounted at the Dollar General. Another thing, I stopped going in there every single day just to go in there because, like I said earlier, there was one month where we had spent over $1,000 at the Dollar General. Don't ask me what on, because I truly don't know. What can you spend $1,000 on? Yes, it's the only store that we have here, and so we would make frequent trips. But when I tell you we were going multiple times a day, the girl who works there would be like, "Again? Again? Y'all are back? Did y'all forget something? Don't forget anything this time because y'all are gonna have to be back." It was ultimately like just consuming us. Being consumers was consuming us. So we had to stop doing that. I went to the thrift store, I think, once, maybe twice. And we really didn't leave with anything. Like, I wasn't going in there thinking, "Ooh, what can I buy? What is like, what name brands can I find? What?" And especially, I wouldn't even like really look at the clothes because I knew that if I found something, for me, sometimes, even if it was, I didn't really like it, I would be like, "Oh, but it's Eddie Bauer. Oh, but it's da 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 da." And I think that is a big part of the thrill of thrifting, is that you realize you can get these things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to purchase. You can get them like super discounted, but still, do you need it? Like, so now I've kind of like made a pact with myself that I'm only going to go to the thrift store if I need something. I'm gonna start being intentional with that, more intentional. So I'm only gonna go when either like I need a new outfit for something, going on, or like if the kids need something specific that we're looking for. We always check the thrift store first. Somebody the other day was asking, "Where do you like shop for your girls and stuff?" And I was like, "We always go to the thrift stores first, always." And then we like Gap because there's always sales at Gap and Old Navy and things like that. I rarely pay full price for anything, but still, again, just because it's on sale doesn't mean that you're saving money. If you're spending money that you otherwise wouldn't have been spending, you're not saving. So no more trips to the thrift store. I truly believe that saved me, even if it saved me $50 to $100, that is literally a bill. That is a week of groceries. Like, that is fruit. That is yogurt. That is, I mean, so many other things. So $50 may just be $50 to some people, but $50 when you're on a one income family is a lot. And today, in this day and age, when everything is like skyrocketing, $50 is $50. So, okay, with that, thrifting, not doing that several times a week, not even doing it once a week, only doing it with intentionality. Moving on to the third one. The third one is, and this may seem like common sense or not really a big deal to people, but we drink a lot of sweet tea. Not so much me, but the rest of the people in this house drink a lot of sweet tea. And that is our main, like the main beverage that we keep around besides water. We try not to do too much soda. We will buy them if they're like on sale or if we just feeling like it. However, sweet tea is the main culprit in this house, and we figured out, so like in the summer we were making it, and I don't know why we stopped making it, but we have switched over to making tea at home again because we realized that we were spending $5 a gallon on Milo sweet tea, which we really enjoy. We also really like the Great Value one, but even that one has gone up to like $3 or $4 a gallon. And so we would go through probably 3 or 4 gallons a week per week. And it got to the point where we were like, are we really spending $15 to $20 a week on sweet tea? That's like $80 a month on sweet tea. So we decided, we invested in a pitcher, which I don't really like this one because it's plastic, but it'll do for now. Until we can make room in the budget to buy a fancier glass one. We really just don't. We just really don't want to do plastic, but glass is also expensive. It's an investment. So we bought a pitcher. we bought a huge thing of sugar, and then we also bought a box of tea bags, and then we have filtered water because we use our Brita filtering pitchers, and so we have water free because we get it from the tap. And then the rest of the stuff I think was like $15, which the pitcher is just a one-time investment, and then we haven't had to restock on the sugar or the tea, and I think that will even last us through the rest of this month. So an initial $15 investment saved us like $60 to $70, 65, somewhere around there. You get the point. Why were we spending that much on sweet tea? I don't know. And so if this is you, I would suggest, if you're not already, go ahead and learn how to make your favorite drink at home, whether that's cold brew, coffee, lemonade, like watermelon juice. Like there's so many ways that you can make things at home so that you don't have to be a consumer and spend all this extra money. You could buy watermelon for $4 to $5 and then come home and make an entire gallon of watermelon juice. You can make your own like horchata. You could make your own. I have tons of videos, specifically on TikTok, of different coffees that I make my own coffee syrups at home. So just pivoting to, even like I said, even if it's just saving $5 a gallon, $5 adds up. There's no reason that anybody should be spending $80 a month on a certain beverage. So, and with that being said, excuse me, with that being said, I know that sodas are cheap, but they're not the best for you. So if you can find a better and cheaper alternative for yourself, so I bought these, it's a pack of, I think the brand is Weiler's, and it's a pack of like water packets, and they taste just like soda. Are they healthy for you? I don't know, but they're like 0 sugar, 0 calorie, and they taste exactly like soda. Add it to your water and put some ice in there, and it feels like you're drinking a soda, truly. So there's so many alternatives that you can do. Invest in a soda stream. I don't know if that will save you any money, but there's so many ways that you can make your beverages at home and end up saving you so much money that you didn't even realize you were spending. All right, so that is another big one. Which, like, who would have thought that tea, like, who would have thought? But we drink a lot of it. We are a household full of tea drinkers. Now, when it comes to alcohol and stuff like that, I don't know. You're just gonna have to like stop on that, because I don't know how you would do that unless you learned how to like make your own wine and stuff at home. Fermenting. Number 4, not spending any time at the mall, Target, or other retailers just because we're bored. Yes, we would do this. Yes, we would wake up early on a Saturday, head into town, and just spend time at the mall. We would be bored on a Sunday and feel like, what are we going to do today? We don't want to stay home. It's so boring here. There's nothing to do. The mall, Target. Could we stop here? Could we stop there? And we would end up just browsing and window shopping. Window shopping always turns into spending money, even if it was just, we're not buying anything in the stores, but yeah, sure, we can grab a pretzel at the mall. Yeah, sure, we can grab a Slurpee and a cookie here at the mall. But for everybody, mall snacks are so expensive. I once took the girls to get some pretzels, just pretzels and cheese, like little pretzel bites and cheese. It came out to $20. $20. And I'm, what? Like, it's so irrational. And I'm like, I could make these pretzels at home. I could go and buy, you know what I could do with $20? Like, so for us, going out and just saying like, we're not gonna spend anything, we're just gonna look around, always ended up turning into spending money, because we would inevitably find a snack or find something that we have been wanting and it's on sale, or we would pop into somewhere and be like, oh, that reminds me, I need this. And then we would end up spending, even if it was $15 or something, that was, again, money that we weren't planning on spending, that we ended up spending, that ended up catching up to us at the end of the month because we weren't budgeting for that. And then it wormed its way, and then at the end of the month, we were like, oh, where did our money go? And it's like, you're spending your weekends at the mall and Target and Hobby Lobby and all these other places where you think, oh, well, I only spent $5 there. We only spent $15 there. Yeah, but we needed a snack. Did we though? And could we possibly have gone somewhere else to get something more affordable where $20 could have gotten everybody a snack and not just one or two people? Because these girls do not share their pretzels. So now, if you have coupons and things like that, that is great. I love signing up for a rewards program, a loyalty program. I absolutely love that. And I most definitely will always, if we have a coupon or something, I'll go. And yeah, but if we don't, then it's like, okay, well, we have to pay full price and there's no deals here. There's no discounts. So yeah, but staying home saves so much money. And it's like, yeah, but well, what were you doing if you were staying home and you weren't getting, entertainment anymore from going out and taking thrifting to the mall, things like that? What were you doing? Staying home, being bored. We need to learn to be bored. And we need to learn that every time that, we want to teach our children better than we know, because we don't want our girls to grow up and think that just because you're bored, you go shopping. That's not the kind of like money management that we want to teach them. No matter if they have tons of money and can do it or not, like, you just don't want to do that. Like, be responsible, find other ways to fill your time. Kimberly took up bracelet making, so she's been making a lot of bracelets, and she already had a bunch of beads, and then she got some for Christmas, and then she ended up buying some more with a gift card that she got for Christmas. And then she just got some string from the dollar store, and we're about to invest because she really enjoys doing it. And it's something that she can do here at home. So things like that, we will 1000% invest in. So we're about to invest in some string for her from Amazon, which is under $10, and it's it's like 4 huge rolls of string. So invest in things that you will only have to invest in once, or things that will last. Invest in board games that you can play at home. Invest in card games. Invest in craft things. Kellen has been loving her markers and her paper, her marker paper and stuff like that she got for Christmas. That's what she's been doing to fill her time. She also got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas, so she's been spending a lot of time on that too. Derek and I have been spending a lot of time walking. Carson has been spending a lot of time on her new phone, which, may or may not be good, but that girl is busy with school. She's busy with sports. She's always busy doing some extracurricular activity. So when she is home and she's on her phone, we don't mind that, because we know that she has so much else going on in her life that when she is home, it's her time to decompress. And then Derek's always at work, and even though I'm home all the time, I still love being home with my family on the weekends. So going walking, I don't know, just going out to play with the dog. When it snowed, that was like a fun activity. The girls being able to have sleepovers because we know that we're going to be home. Going to church, that's another thing. We hadn't been going to church because our schedules were so filled, and then we would just end up doing something else, and we just weren't making a priority. So now, revolving our Saturday around, hey, let's kind of sleep in, and then we'll get up a little bit later, end up going to church, and then eat out. But we're not spending our entire day in the city. So things like that, just like quietly adjusting things that you are already doing, just like romanticizing your life, embracing the whimsical. Even baking at home can be a fun activity to do with your kids or with your husband. Cooking, sitting down and thinking, what can we do this weekend? Like, what recipes can we take on? Things like that. Date nights at home. Stuff like that is it's so much more fun than I think we realize if we just slow down and realize that we do not have to live like the rest of the world. We don't have to be in such a fast-paced environment all the time. So, that has also just not spending our time, all of our free time, out at the stores, out in the city. And yeah, So, number 5 is just kind of piggybacking off of that. Since we're not spending so much time in the city, we have saved so much money on gas. We drive an SUV, and then my husband drives a truck. So, in order to even get like a fourth of a tank, you have to spend $20. And when we were driving to the city, mind you, 45 minutes away, and then having to drive back home, not to mention going all around the city wherever we were going, we were having to spend at least 20 bucks each time. And if we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday to the city, that's $60 on top of what we were already spending going out to eat or spending at the shops and stuff. So since we're only going into town once a week now, which is for church, and then we kind of just do all of our shopping and stuff like that on that same day, or like putting in a grocery order and just having to go pick it up, has helped us save, let's see, what's 60 times 4, 240, and then it's like 150, 160 bucks. Like, it's crazy when you actually sit down and, you know, I've always sat down and written out our budget for the month and said, okay, we're gonna do this, 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 and this. But the thing is that life happens, life happens, and sometimes that budget doesn't always go strictly to, the way you planned it out. It doesn't always go like that. And you have to learn how to ebb and flow and move with the groove while still staying as close as possible to your budget. So if you don't have $200 to eat out, then like, just don't do it. And it seems so simple, but it's so, when you're used to that lifestyle. So that was our problem, is that we had just gotten so accustomed to this lifestyle, and so did our kids, that we just had to give ourselves like a big old fat reality check, because it was like, what are we doing? Like, we're not happy doing this. Why do we keep doing it? And so I would just say that the biggest thing is to just be content with what you already have. Stay offline as much as you possibly can, so that you're not constantly consuming content that makes you want to go out and consume, that makes you want to go out and spend money on things that you don't need, that makes you want to add to cart. Follow people who are all about, normalizing normal life, normalizing not over consuming. Stop following people who make you feel less than. Stop following people who are constantly pushing something to sell to you, who constantly make you feel like you have to buy something to keep up and keep up. But also with that, I would encourage you to dig deep and find out why you're wanting to do that. Find out what's making you feel like you have to keep up. Is it because you're feeling like you're not enough? Is it because you feel like there's something missing? Are you using shopping as a replacement for something that you're not getting emotionally, or, whatever it is? Figure out why you want to constantly spend money, why you constantly want to go out, and get to the root of that problem first. And then, firstly, unfollow everyone that is trying to get you to spend money, that every time you go to their page, they're selling something new or promoting something new, or they have a new item from the TikTok shop that you just have to have. Like, absolutely not. You do not. I have been using the same makeup bottle. I was doing my makeup this morning and told my husband, I've had this bottle since we went to the Parker McCollum concert in September. So, like, you don't need a new foundation every month. You don't need a new bronzer every month. Every time a new blush or a new eyeshadow palette is released, you don't need it just because the huge influencer with a million followers, who is probably getting this for free or getting paid to promote it, just because they are putting it out there doesn't mean that you need it. Or just because everyone else is like jumping on the bandwagon and has decorated their entire house for Valentine's Day, like, you don't have to go out and do that. You don't, truly. So I'm here to encourage you to try a no spend month. Just try it. Even if it's just 1 month. See what happens. See how much money, because like I said, we did not think that it was making a difference. And then we looked at the numbers, and numbers don't lie. So even though we didn't actually feel it or, think that it was doing anything, we were actually making such a huge difference. And guess what? Our kids are not bored. Our kids were like, we cannot wait for February 1st so we can go out to eat. And then we were like, we're just because it's a new month doesn't mean that we're going to start. And guess what? It hasn't bothered them. They actually love eating here at home. They love that we're cooking for them. They enjoy homemade food. And we enjoy doing it for them. We enjoy cooking for them. We enjoy spending time here at home and, just living life together instead of being out and, giving our time to the world. So, anyways, I would encourage you to try No Spend Month. Unfollow everyone who makes you feel like you are less than or like you need stuff that you truly do not need. I would encourage you to find things to fill your time with that do not require spending money. Pack a lunch and go to the park. Bake cookies and take them over to your friend's house, to your cousin's house, to your sister's house, and just have, a movie night. Have a movie night at home. Take up walking. Do things that make you happy while also saving you money. And that's all I've got. But let me know if you did a no spend month for January and if it was successful for you, or if you've done like a no spend year. I really feel like that is where this is going to head, is into a no spend year. But let me know. I would love to know how that's gone for you in the past, and if you have any other tips for me on how to save more money, how to be more frugal, how to live within your means. If you have any tips for me, let me know, because your girl loves saving money. But with that being said, I hope that y'all have a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all in the next video.